Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DNanime Podcast. My name is Beautiful Crow, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Vic Seal. And we are back for the 12th, what? How many fingers? 12th episode. I got the many fingers. But the 12th episode of the DNanime Podcast. I hope you guys are excited. I know I am, because we got a bunch of fun topics today. We have 3 amazing topics that we're going to be sitting down, chatting with all of you guys with. And if you guys want to help the podcast out, if you want to help, get in that comment section and leave your comments, whatever we're talking about. Join the conversation, as well as hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that little bell so you can stay notified whenever the podcast goes live. We've been growing and it's showing on YouTube, on the live podcast services. It's been crazy. This ride has been insane. We're 12 weeks in and it's been a blast. So I hope you guys are excited sitting down. You know, it's like the Church of Anime here. We're sitting down on a glorious Sunday and we're going to pray the big boo with Jesus. No, I don't even know. I don't know where I was going with that metaphor, but you know, it's anime, it's Sunday, it's end of Sunday, and I hope you guys are ready for DNanime. We're gonna have a good time.
Hallelujah.
And I hope you are ready. Yes, everybody, hallelujah, hallelujah.
I see the DNanime.
What anime is that with Anime Jesus? I see him all the time.
Anime Jesus.
Yeah, there's an anime with Jesus in it. He's just like a cool dude running around with a crown of thorns. I'm like, what is the show? I never watched it.
I don't know. Funny enough, where I'm originally from, we had a guy that would go to every convention just as Jesus. And it was always the same guy, and he was always the only one.
Well,
so
I guess since I'm in
for like 3 years, it would just be like, where is Anime Jesus?
Yeah, no, so not really the same thing, because we have a bunch of conventions down here. And since I'm in the Bible Belt, instead we got a bunch of people from churches with a megaphone just be like, this is sin. You guys are all going to hell. And I'm just like, every year Dragon Con
was a thing until I went to Anime Expo, and there was one singular person who was doing that with like a picket sign. And he got the anime girl treatment where they just like all ran up to him and just like started twerking on him.
Yeah, that's normally what happens. It's
like, what do you think?
It's wild. I don't know. It's every year, because I will go to Dragon Con every year, and they'll be out there being like, "Down with anime, you all going to hell," and then everybody in their cosplays would go crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Also, what's crazy, because it's kind of like a twofold thing. Because, and this is kind of off topic. We'll get that first topic in a second. But Dragon Con is like a huge convention down in Atlanta, right? It's like a sci-fi, anime, pop culture convention. So they will always come out with their picket signs and their blowhorn or whatever, and they'll be like, blah, 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 anime's bad. The other thing is that on Labor Day weekend, they also have the Pride Parade. So through the streets of downtown Atlanta, you'll have all the anime fans down there in cosplay watching the Pride Parade as they're going all through the cities, and then all the Bible-going people just freaking the fuck out. So it's always a huge event downtown Atlanta during Dragon Con.
That's pretty cool.
So it's crazy. It is sick, dude. I love going to the parade every time we go down there for Dragon Con. It's been years for me because of the pandemic, but it's always fun because it's like literally the streets are just jam-packed with people like in all kind of colorful costumes, whether they're cosplaying or just there for the parade. It's insane. It is literally insane. I love Dragon Con, dude. I need to go back. We can do it. The DNanime does Dragon Con. I'll be down to do that.
I think we should go the year that our first podcast hits 200 views.
All right, we're doing it, and we need your help.
We should do sub counts. What are we at right now?
Yeah. We'll do sub counts one of these days, man. All right. I'm gonna talk a little bit before we get into our first topic. We are actually doing really well, and I'm very happy. I'm enjoying the podcast so much, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Thank you guys so much for all the support and being there, listen to the podcast. It's crazy because we're just two guys who are waxing poetic about our passion about podcasts, or our podcast passion for anime, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I'm having a blast, dude, and I hope you guys are. Welcome in to the 12th episode of the DNanime Podcast, and we're going to get on over to our first topic of the day, and that first topic is going to be fan service. This is going to be a hot topic. This is going to be spicy, because it's all about fan service in anime. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Does it detract you from watching the show? Does it make you enjoy the show a little bit more? Put that cock away, boy. No. But yeah, we're going to be talking about our fan service in anime. Vix, I want to hear your opinion, and then we're gonna go back and forth. This is gonna be a hot topic. We're not going, what's your pick? No, we got to talk. We got to discuss this. We got to get the list together.
All right, we'll get this. So, I think in general, fan service is good. I think a lot of the shows that do it bad. The main thing about fan service is that done in abundance, it will steer people away, and like even further beyond that, if you go way too hard, then you have to start putting disclaimers on your recommendation, and then it starts to become a chore when you recommend it, which makes you not want to recommend it, and then it makes less people watch it because nobody wants to recommend it with a disclaimer. So if you have so much fan service in your anime or your series that I have to put a little star at the end of my recommendation, you have done too much fan service. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the show is bad. It means that they have done their service bad.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it became a whole thing. Like, it's an anime trope at this point, right? You got the whole thing where it's like, high school guy, go to school, got a bunch of girls, got a harem of girls in his, in his life or whatever, and he's going to trip and fall down into a boobs or whatever. Or, oh, the wind blows, and oh, we got the panty shot. Like, it just, for the longest time, and I feel like we're kind of getting away from that, at least, or maybe it's just anime that I'm watching. But I feel like that's starting to change, because that was like a huge thing that was prevalent. That's why when I was younger,
it was really prominent in like when anime was starting to grow, because a lot of their audience was like teenage boys. So
yeah,
they really hunkered down into that. And then a lot of the shows, which is why it's hard to recommend a lot of the older shows, is just because like they fell into the harem trap, and it was just all butts and boobas out there, out in the open, trip and fall, cushions, all that stuff. Naked lady or near naked ladies, the bath scene in every
it's always got to be a hot tub scene.
We don't need a bath or a hot tub scene or a hot spring scene in every single series. It is fine.
Because okay, so like again, I don't think fan service is bad. I think we're on the same point or in the same wavelength there. But my whole thing is like when it comes to the hot tub streams or hot tub scenes, it can be done fine. It's normally just like guys in one part of the bathhouse, women in the other one. Guys, oh, we got to try to sneak in on her or whatever. It could be done. It's kind of overdone because it's overused trope.
Suggestion that it is a man's duty to go in and peep on the women is automatically bad.
Because like if that
is supposed to be your prompt to get the near naked fan service, that was a bad idea.
Yes, but I will say the hot tub scene in DNanime I thought was good. I enjoyed it
under the Coliseum.
Yeah, well, not under the Coliseum. No, that was just the fan service done well because that made me love the characters. That was an intimate. Okay, so here we'll do it like this.
The best fan service moment in anime.
Yeah. So bad fan service, and when Jiraiya's like, hey, Naruto, turn to a sexy lady and I'll train you.
Was That's
terrible.
Weird, all right?
That's terrible. What the fuck was Kishimoto on?
What were you thinking, was he on?
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't know what was. I love Jiraiya to death. He's one of my favorite characters in all anime. But what the fuck, man? But then in DanMachi, when you have the scene with Belle and Leon being trapped underneath the Coliseum, and they're there, they fell into like Belle passes out and falls into a pool of water. And then Leon grabs him to catch him because he's falling. They both get wet or whatever. And it's this real sweet, intimate moment while they're going through hell. It's like their one peaceful moment in there.
It was like, it's next level for that too, because they make it a point in, I don't know if it's in the original show or if it's in the spinoff, where they make it, they say specifically that elves in that universe, they can't let anybody touch their skin. Oh. So that's why Ryu and Leifia wear really like covering stuff, because it's like a huge disgrace or something to have their skin touched. So that being the case, Ryu in that moment was literally putting it all out there, everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
like she put her heritage, her race out. She put her vulnerabilities all out on the table. There was nothing being covered. It was like the best showcase of like good fan service meets intimacy that I've seen in probably ever. Like watching it, seeing that she is in fact clothless, like she's got nothing on, and not thinking about it in any regard, was really good. Like they put her nearly bare naked on screen and didn't draw attention to it somehow, and it was so fucking good.
It was awesome. It made me like, I'm not even a shipper. And I was just like, Belle got to end up with her.
I know. I was like,
that was awesome.
And another one.
And another one. But no, like the whole thing was like, because I didn't have that context going into it. Belle mentions it. He's like, but, you know, wouldn't that be like not great? And she was just like, I don't care. We got to survive. We need to get the body heat or the body warmth to survive because we're struggling and we all wet. We got to get dry. We got to do what we got to do. And it, you know, obviously does the whole thing with Belle's like bashful. And
it really showed how much she trusted him. There.
DanMachi. Okay, this is one thing that I think that DanMachi does masterfully. They play into the trope and to subvert it all the time. And I think it's awesome. Because in that moment, Belle's very bashful. He's blushing. He's like, I'm not going to look at you. Oh, I'm so shy. And then she's just like, she's staring off. And he looks at her. And she says something that makes him laugh. And he's like, you know what? I can't be a fucking kid right now. Like, this is life or death. And he takes it fucking seriously. He's like, hey, come here. And they hug. And she's like, kind of like sitting in his lap. And they're hugging.
Yeah.
And he just like, you know, and they just talking. And I'm just like,
any part of it weird. Nobody says
not at
anything
all.
Weird, and then they don't have that be the moment where somehow everybody finds them.
Yeah.
They got their time to just like really hunker down and like do what needed to be done instead of just being like, oh my god, a naked lady.
Yeah, he does that for like a second and he mans the fuck up. I love Belle. Belle Crandall has become one of my favorite fucking characters. He's awesome because again, they do the dumb bullshit, and then he's just like, no, this is real. They always
get you going, damn it, and then they flip it on you, and you're like, oh, wait a minute.
This is so. I'm like, wait, what? When did I start to care so much? Because again, I thought Ryu was cool because she was just like strong, cool, like, you know. Oh, I got this like tragic backstory.
And in town, level 3 adventurer, retired and whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what's going on with her?
You get to find out more, and you're like, wait, this is like. She's not just a level 3 adventurer. She's like a survivor, and she had like a really bad case of Survivor's Guild too, which I think they showed that like pretty well also in that world.
Yep, dude, so good. So fan service can be done right when it doesn't distract from the story. Now let's talk about bad fan service. Anybody watch Fire Force?
Damn it, you took mine. I was gonna say it.
Let's bitch about fucking Tamaki again. But no, like
they'll
again,
never get away from it. It's there is no reason they have to come up with something. There is no feasible reason I can think of for them to just be like, oh yeah, this chick can just fully lose her clothes at random. This is a good idea. Who the fuck thought
lucky lechery? But yeah, like that's what I would consider fan service to be bad because I feel like it's just like it doesn't distract. I mean, again, I'm old now. I'm not a teenage boy. I'm just like, oh, boobies. You know what I mean? So just like, I don't want to see Tamaki, especially because she has like an interesting backstory and she's an interesting character. And that totally distracts from her character and really belittles her as a character. Whereas a character like Erza, who is very attractive and has a lot of fan service in Fairy Tail, but she's a fucking badass.
Hers is unique in the sense that it does pull away from the story, but every time she does it, it adds to her character.
Yep. I love Erza.
Because when you first meet Erza, and for the longest time, she's just this battle-hardened veteran mage master, like top of the guild. And then like the more you get to see her go on quests, and she does these like weird things, like when she imagines Jalal when she has her like sexy outfit on or whatever. It pulls away from the moment that she's in, but it stays in the realm of this is like Erza's. This is who she is as like a person. She feels more like a person instead of just like a veteran or like the best. So her doing that is like really good. I don't know if anybody read the manga as opposed to watching the anime, but in the Tartarus guild fight, when she is captured and chained up in the manga, she is or not in the manga, in the anime, she's like wearing the like rag clothes and whatever to showcase that she's a prisoner. In the manga, she's naked.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The only thing, she is fully naked, hair covering. That's it.
The bits.
Yeah,
the
that's
hair
it.
covering the bits.
But in the manga, when she's captured and she is getting like smacked as a prisoner, she is full naked.
Butt ass naked.
Yeah. And still, like, she didn't, like, when that panel came up, I was like, whoa, holy, wait.
Whoa, I need to stop reading this in public.
Because I wasn't expecting that, but it wasn't totally, like, disruptive because, like, she's a prisoner and they're, like, demons, so making her expose herself like that made sense. To some degree. Like, obviously, it was a strike at fan service, and you couldn't go into that panel and be like, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. But it was fine. It was like, it wasn't too much, even though she was like fully naked. It didn't fully detract from the story, and she never broke her combative stance. Like, so she was always still angry.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't think fan service is bad. I think anime got a bad rap just in general because of the high schooler fan service of falling into titties, falling into butts or whatever. Because it was just like it was old. Like, that shit got old quick for me. You know, because it happened to every single anime you had a scene like that. Main characters going down the stairs, trips, falls into a girl. They're running and then
like,
he trips and falls.
Okay, and slice of life ones still do it.
Do it. And it sucks. And so whenever you see a show now where they subvert it and they don't do it, like, one anime, I mean, they do it a lot as well, but I really enjoy it, was a certain scientific or a certain magical index. Like, there's a lot of fan service in that show, but I feel like the main character went out of his way a lot of times to not do it. Or like
when they like actively are aware that they're like avoiding fan service moments, I think that's kind of funny.
Those are fun. Because he'll literally be like, oh, hell no. And he'll like, damn it, I didn't watch this anime, but what is the tomboy anime with the girl with the red hair, short red hair?
It's like Tomo-chan or something. I don't know. I watched the first like 2 episodes and it felt really generic, so I just stopped watching it.
It does, but I kind of like this moment because I've only seen like a couple of like clips or whatever, because for whatever reason when the show came out, everybody was talking about it. But I love the whole aspect of like, she's a tomboy, she's in love with her childhood friend, but he sees her as like a dude, bro. So she's like, I want to confess my friends, but he sees me like a brother. And she's like very tomboyish. So there's a moment where she's doing a typical anime thing of falling down the stairs. She's like about to fall into him. And so, or he's about to fall into her. And he looks, and he's like, oh no, I'm about to fall into her. And he does like this fucking spin move to avoid it so that he doesn't like fall into her breast while he's falling down the stairs. And so she's like sad because she was like, I wanted to have that anime moment of him falling into her.
Was like, so she wanted to be the recipient of the trope. And he's like,
but he has the fucking he has the right stick in, you know, NFL street fucking truck stick move and spins around her. And it falls into the other character. And she's just like, she looks back and she's like, I wanted that. Like, if you subvert expectations, it's a lot of fun. Fan service could be great. Again, I will always hype up High School of the Dead because of how fucking stupid it is. But I love the fan service in that because it's so over the top.
I feel like High School of the Dead, although it is like always there, still did it well. Because it was like,
it's crazy.
It was like integrated into the story. Like, it was almost important that it was there because it just added to how fucking ridiculous it was.
That's my thing. Is like High School of the Dead has no reason to work because it's like the most ridiculous shit. And I can't recommend that anime to anybody unless I know like you're an anime watching
like
that anime
stars fan. Behind this thing. But
High School of the Dead,
you have to get. It's one of those ones where I have to like vet you first. All right, when did you start watching anime? And what's the
you pull
most
out the clipboard
that you've ever seen?
Dude, just pull out the clipboard and have to like check off all these boxes, like doing an interview, like they're coming into the fucking country.
All right, started watching anime 2004. Check.
Check. But yeah, like High School of the Dead is great because everything about it is 11 out of 10. From the fights to the action to the zombies to how the characters react to the situation. One of my favorite moments is the 2 girls running through the school. And then they're just like, we're best friends. We're going to survive this. We're going to live forever. And then the one girl gets grabbed by her ankle. And she's like, Tomo-chan or whatever her name is. She's like, help me.
Don't let me die.
Yeah. And then she just looks at her and she just, let me go, you dumb bitch. And just kicks her in the face.
Like, who are you?
That's what I love. Like, it's so over the top. It's so insane. Like, that's what I love about it. I don't think the fan service in itself is bad. like you said, it's just handled very poorly and lazily by a lot of anime fans. Because most of the time, you just like sexy girl, half naked.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like, we did it, boys. We did it again. Like, I just imagine like the meme with all the scientists like looking over the fucking like bottles and chemicals in the beakers. They'd be like, "Oh, we making the perfect, fan service scene," and it's just literally girl fell over and her shirt fell off or something. And it's like, it happens every time. But no, I think fan service can add to a story. I think fan service can be good, but I think most people are just lazy and just write it as like, wind blew, girl butt out, guy trip, fell into titties, and that's about it.
Another one that did it like both kind of good and bad at the same time, Food Wars.
Food Wars is great. Yeah.
I fucking love Food Wars. And they're like overly serviceable moments are like, they're so over the top that it almost makes it okay. But it's like, it's so weird that you still have to put like a disclaimer on it. And most of the time it doesn't need to be there. And at some point, one of the judges, like the best judge, supposedly his rating system became how much of his clothes got blown off.
Well, okay, so I never watched Food Wars. Does that happen? I thought it was like in their mindscape. Like, it was like, this food is so great that it makes me feel this way.
9 times out of 10, it is just in their mind. But I think about third or fourth season, they start getting like so good with their food that some of them do start actually losing their clothes. And like the principal, who was like the best judge, like, if you can fully blow his shirt off, then you are like almost guaranteed to win.
Awesome. Hey man, I don't know about you, but when I eat a delicious meal, I want to bust. So I think Food Wars.
I do bust a nut when I make really good food.
I just walk into the kitchen, I'm like, ooh, boy, I'm about to bust.
Yes, I've made delicious food once again.
But yes, there's a lot of, like the over the top, ridiculous, typical fan service. There's a lot of non-sexual fan service moments where, I mean, this isn't, I guess it's like different because there are fan service moments where you get certain moments in the show that you pay off. I would say for me as a fan, in My Hero, you want to know what a fan service moment for me was that made me so happy as a fan? If we just talk about non-sexual, would be All Might not dying. This is a spoiler. But like, All Might having to fight against All for One.
Is that fan service though?
I think it is, because I feel like because in typical, when you're thinking about fan service, especially in anime, it's just like how salacious, how sensual, how sexy a scene could be. But I think paying off a big moment that galvanizes the fans in a way is kind of fan service.
I don't think that's considered fan service. That's more just like good writing. Fan service is things that are specifically written into the show for the sole purpose of like drawing in
fans.
The fans. That would not have been as good if they just let him die. So like that.
I mean, I'm happy. I guess the way I was looking at it was, as a fan, I was serviced because I love All Might. Because the whole thing is that I feel like they set him up, the entire time. I feel like that was a major part of his story. And in most stories, when you have the mentor character,
because like if they make you think about him because of Night Eye, they really make you think about him not making it.
There's a multitude of things, because there's like so many in my mind. There's so many death flags that are set up for All Might in that in throughout the show. One, he's older. He's retired. He's passed on one for all.
Organs.
He's missing all of his organs, his guts. The man who could see the future said, "You go die a horrible death." So the entire time I was just like, I kind of resigned myself to the fact that, okay, he's going to have his moment, and then Deku's going to have to take, Midoriya is going to have to continue on without All Might. So I went into that whole fight being like, I'm wholeheartedly expecting him to die. That was just like
All for One.
Yeah, against All for One. I was 100% just like, oh, this is the time. And I think that if that did happen,
I more expected him to just fully retire more so than die.
Oh, no, I 100% thought he was going to die.
I think I caught the thing that you must not have mentioned. Night Eye mentions that he sees no future for All Might.
Well, yes.
But he also says that he doesn't see a future for Deku, and Deku did it because he changed the time. He changed the timeline, and then Night Eye passed. So Night Eye, I'm assuming the way that his power worked is basically he would like see into his the point that he self's eyes.
Yeah.
And then when there was no more future self, it was just darkness. So when he said, "I see no future for you, All Might," it wasn't that you're dead. It's I'm assuming you're dead.
Yes, but
and I was like, they're gonna play on that because they were not specific. I was like, they're gonna be.
That's what I was holding out hope for, because I was like, he does kind of say that because Midoriya changes the future that he sees. So that's kind of like, that was kind of like a little tidbit to the fans, and I was holding out hope, right? But still, I feel like in most stories you do lose the mentor character, and also he did tell All Might in the hospital scene when he was walking and All Might was leaving the hospital at the time when he was like first injured, and fucking Night Eye was just like, if you continue going on how you're doing, you're going to have a gruesome death. So I was expecting, I was like, it could have gone either way, and I would have been fine, but I'm much happier with the result that we got. And I again, as a fan, I felt like I was served.
I didn't take that for like a literal sense, because it seemed like he led into it in a way where it was like more emotional.
I mean, that could have just been like his inference, because he probably didn't use his power for that. He was just like, dude, you just almost died and your guts got blown out. If you keep doing this, that's going to happen again.
Wasn't there like a limit to how far into the future he could see anyway?
I don't know, actually.
I thought there was a limit.
I think the limit was self-imposed. Because I think he said that he doesn't go too far because he doesn't want to see.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think he was like, I limited, because he was like, I think after he saw All Might's death, he was like, I don't want to keep going that far, so I just keep it to a certain amount of time to do what I got to do. And that's why in fights, he was like, all I need to do is look a couple of seconds ahead to be able to, fight. Night Eye is an awesome character, and I love how they circumvented. So I would say that to me, at least in my opinion, I think that is a non-sexual fan service, because All Might's my fan favorite character, and I'm very happy that that he's still around. Because I was wholeheartedly expecting him to go the same route as other mentors in anime, i.e., spoiler alert for Naruto, but like a Jiraiya, like an old mentor character.
See, okay, so
you gonna look it up?
Yeah, I'm looking up the specific fan service definition, because that's not fan service to me. To me, that's just either good writing or a plot twist.
True.
Or foreshadowing. They
foreshadowing as well. It might not be the literal sense of fan service, but all I'll say is
as the random and gratuitous display of a series of anticipated gestures common in manga and anime. These gestures include such things as panty shots, leg spreads, and glimpses of the breast. So,
yes, that's the technical definition of it as far as it goes to anime.
Sexual.
They are sexual, but I guess the way I was looking at it was just to kind of like turn the question around, is just moments as a fan that made me happy, I guess. Whereas I feel like sexual fan service, or at least fan service in the typical definition, is, like you stated, titty shots, ass shots, panty shots.
Yeah.
The typical stuff.
I think it might have originally been kind of like how you're thinking of it.
I think in typical literature,
as it became more like commonplace, it developed the term and then just kind of took it over.
Well, yeah, I think fan service in anime is that. But fan service as anything in literature is something that pays off, that the fans are, at least
but we're talking
in
about
my
anime
mind.
Here. This is the DNanime
We are talking about
podcast.
anime.
You see down in there in the corner?
Hey, you remember how we were talking about how Don Machi circumvents the typical anime tropes? That's what I was trying to do by talking about a little fun stuff that wasn't just sexual. I turned it on you. Let's go.
I believe you, for sure.
But no, again, I was just like trying to bring up something different as far as like non-sexual fan service. As a fan, I just really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah,
I'm sure we all have moments.
Definitely like moments all over the place in anime that are just good moments that please the fan. But I don't think that I would ever consider any of those like fan service. Mostly because they were written for the purpose of the story and not for the purpose of like drawing in people. Like, you're not trying to like lock people in using that. Like, that's just part of the story.
Yeah, it is good storytelling, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy that certain characters still around. Like All Might. That shit makes me happy. Maybe want to stick around, watch more My Hero, see what he's gonna do. When I saw All Might jogging after the All for One fight, that shit made me so happy. I was like, look at him. I thought he was gonna be done. This man was. I was like, what is he jogging for? you ain't got no guts, man. And I was just like, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. This shit gonna pay off. This jogging through the fucking
out and about because you about to get jumped. Go home.
Yeah, because like Midoriya would just be like, I'm learning how to flick. Then all this dumb shit. And then All Might would just be like, hey, what's up, Midoriya boy? I'm over here training. I was like, what are you training for? But yes. But hey, what is your opinion on fan service in anime? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you think it does a disservice to the show that you're watching? Do you have to feel like you got to give so many disclaimers to your friends if you're trying to get them in anime? Like, hey, man, I know you're looking forward to watching some anime, but this got this, that, this, and that. And, just ignore this. And, these high school,
if you these high school. This is why it was hard to recommend DanManchi, even though I recommend it all the time, was because I'm like, you have to listen to me. There's 3 to 4 episodes that you're not going to like. I can tell you that right now. I'm like, but they're important. You're going to be like, oh, fucking course. But I'm like, listen, check the footnotes. It's fine.
Dude, for the most part, the title was like the only thing that was just like, I don't know what the show is about. I was like, is it just going to be some harem anime about him picking up chicks in a dungeon? And so I was just like, it didn't really like stick out to me as something that was interesting just based off the title. But the way you talked about it, I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And I'm very happy that I did, because even with, the fan service that is in DanManchi with Hestia and her titty string, DanManchi's fucking fantastic.
I was hoping for more cosplayers of Hestia.
Hey, why is that?
No reason. I mean, she's just such a great character. Just filled with assets, if you know what I
mean. She's very integral to the plot. There's a lot of plot with Hestia. But yes, if you guys want to leave down your opinion on fan service in anime, drop it on down in the comments below. All right, so for our second topic of the day, we're going to sit down here and we're going to get real with you guys for a second, because we're going to talk about which anime or manga was the most influential in your life. What changed you? What left a lasting impression? Again, I feel like both of us, we've been watching anime for an incredibly long time. So you've seen so many shonen, so many harem anime, so many sports anime, and it's just like, it all kind of blends together. But what is the anime that stuck with you, Vix, and why? Why did it have that last and long impression for you?
It was probably going to have to be Naruto, mostly because of its timing, I think, and its availability. Came out on Toonami. Everybody, that's probably where a lot of people caught their first animes from. I watched the first couple episodes of Naruto, and it was like, yo, this is awesome. I wish I could have more of this. So then I would try to look it up back when the internet wasn't so friendly. And a lot of stuff was a lot harder to find. And then that's where I found out that anime was like a whole thing. And I was like, yo, there is more of it. And then I, started watching Bleach and Kenshin, Inuyasha, all that stuff on Toonami. So really Naruto as the anime itself didn't, I think, influence me too much. It's just that it was the gateway that led me to the rest of them. And then ever since then, it's just been this exponential increase in number of anime to watch. It was like the thing that I always wanted to see. And it was like, there it is. Here it is in abundance. Take your pick. So the anime, not just for children. Check this out.
I know, right? Not everything's Pokemon.
But yeah, it actually opened my eyes that I thought Naruto was the first one, because that was the first one I realized was anime. But then as I kept going, then I realized that Pokemon and Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball were all anime as well. And I was like, I fucking knew it. I knew it all along.
I know what you are.
So that's mine. Definitely just Naruto. It had some moments. I don't think anything. I'm not influenced by videos, movies, anime very much, because I separate my fiction from reality very, very strictly. But they have moments that just pierce that veil, and you're like, damn, this is sad.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Go ahead.
I guess that was the interesting perspective. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I think that's the interesting perspective, because I guess for me it would be Dragon Ball. I forget sometimes I'm a little bit older than you, but yeah, Dragon Ball for me is what got me in anime. Where I was just like, yo, this is awesome. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, and I think this is probably a story that a lot of people resonate with, is that Dragon Ball Z, it made me want to go to the gym. Like Dragon Ball Z, like I wanted to be ripped like Goku.
I tried to use anime as like my buffer or like my motivation to go to the gym, and I would start, and then I would just be like, man, I do not fucking care. Like if I knew that I could go to the gym and start learning to Ki Blast, then hell yeah, I'd go to the gym.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
But I know that's not realistic, so like
yeah, because like Dragon Ball Z is influential to me because it got me really into anime. Like Dragon Ball Z will always have a special place in my heart. Because it is the anime that made me love anime. I love Dragon Ball Z. It was like one of the first things I've ever watched. And I was like, this is totally different than any other anime out there. So and Dragon Ball Z is 100%. Now, I don't care. If anybody ever asks me what my number one favorite anime is, it's always Dragon Ball Z. And it's 100% off the merits, but how nostalgic it is for me. The moments that I share with my family watching it when I would come home from school. And just how amazing it was to me when I was just a bright-eyed kid, that just wanted to watch something that was cool and watch people punch and crap at each other and shoot beams out of their hand. I would say as far as influential in my life to kind of like make my life better in a similar vein where I was talking about working out for Dragon Ball, my workout show was Baki, or not Baki. The Baki would be crazy.
Doing flags on the ground.
Yeah, no, Hajime no Ippo was mine. I watched Ippo because Ippo came out in 2002, so technically I could have watched it when I was like 12, but I don't think that was over in the States. So I watched Ippo for the first time when I was like late in high school. And I was kind of like, I was always a skinny kid. Like I'm not short. I was always like average height. So like 5'9", 5'10". Like when I stopped growing, I'm 5'10" now. And so I wasn't like the biggest dude. And I was very thin. I was very real thin. Maybe you guys might find an old picture of me somewhere or I'll post one. But I was always very skinny. And then I was like, well, I want to try to start taking care of myself, start lifting. Not really because I wanted to get bigger or anything like that, but I had asthma growing up. And so when I was watching Hajime Ippo, and it's all about, if you don't know what the anime is, it's a boxing anime. Where the main character, Makunouchi, who's, he's like a younger high school student, I think in his last year of high school, and he's getting bullied relentlessly, and he was always bullied by these guys in the school. And then he finds out through essentially his mentor, Takamura, that he has a knack for boxing. And he starts to nurture that love for boxing that he grows over time in the gym with Kimura, Aoki, and Takamura, and with the coach, Coach Kimimura, and there you watch him grow over the time. And I was like, I was like, this, like, it made me so motivated to work out because I'm just like, Ippo, one, it was just cool. Like, I didn't want to get into boxing. I don't like getting punched. It's not fun. But I thought about it for a while. I wanted to become a boxer.
And then I got hit once, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah, that's just rough. Like, hey, if I got to, I'll do what I got to do. But I was like, I ain't trying to get punched for a living. But, I started going to the gym. I started taking it seriously. And I started really working on my cardio to get over my asthma. And so for a long time, like me and my roommate at the time, like when I got out of high school, we would just work out all the time. And I would always play the Ippo openings. All like 5 of them, 6 of them. They're the best like gym music. The dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Like it gets you so hype. And I'm just in the gym, just imagining Ippo running with like the coach behind him, and I'm running on treadmill
for the gym and stuff. Like I used to play just like a bunch of them when I would go to the gym.
Yeah.
I would just have my anime playlist. What you listen to? Don't worry about it. You don't need to know.
Yeah, I know. What to listen to? I'm listening to Unravel. Ashika, Teo, Shika. It's like, why you trying to cry at the gym? But no, like, Kaneki is going through harder stuff than this. But no, like anime can motivate you. There's so many people. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy. It's the guy who's like, he's like a bodybuilder, and he cosplays as Baki's father, Yujiro Hanma, and he looks just like him, and he's like a jack dude. And he's like, Dragon Ball Z made me want to start working out and bodybuild, and he just cosplays as Yujiro Hanma, and he just looks like him. And it's crazy to me that anime can inspire someone to put forth so much effort. I can't be no bodybuilder. I can't do that. I like being able to scratch my back.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I want, especially not since I saw the dude who mentioned like really buff guys just look like smaller dudes in big meat suits. I was like,
dude,
damn.
watching a bodybuilder in like a suit is the funniest thing ever.
Flex and they're like, whatever this is like it curves down so hard into like their shoulders, and then their shoulders are so buff. Once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. but it looks like a smaller guy inside the muscles of the bigger guy.
Vix, aren't we all just meat mechs? All meat mechs piloted by a skeleton.
Yes.
With our
Life is a mecha anime. I got it.
Life is a mecha. Let's go. But no, like legitimately, for my mental health and my physical health, Baki was a huge inspiration to me. I would watch Baki every single year. Not Baki, I keep saying Baki. Ippo every single year. To just watch the entire series.
Same
and I was so happy.
Same thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, not kind of yes and no. Baki at first,
say no.
Baki at first was well, no, because Baki at first was like kind of like that. It was a mildly like realistic until like Baki was throwing himself off of cliffs and busting nuts to get stronger or whatever the hell. But then like the time skip happened. And it was like the future version where Baki's all like big and buff and he's fighting all the other dudes. And I was watching the new anime and the one guy was like a prisoner and he put his mouth to a dude's ear and blew his brain out of his other ear by blowing so hard. I was like, what the hell did Baki turn into?
What?
I was like, what the fuck? Did you not see that?
I must have not seen that season. That was second season, right? I think I stopped watching it after the first one because I was like, this is a little ridiculous.
The dude blows a dude brain out and it looks like his brains turn into like intestines because they all like noodle out of his ear by blowing on one of his ears. And his brain just shoots out of anyway. Baki's crazy. I love it. But anyway, I will like Hajime no Ippo is awesome. It's incredible. It made me try to be a better person physically and mentally. And I'm still working out to this day. I'm off and on a lot, but I always try to keep it up. And I'm again, it's always in my workout playlist. Every last Ippo opening. It's so good. So good, dude. Yeah, I mean, there's, I don't know, like, because I know you talked about it previously, Danmachi, and how Bell as a character motivated you to try to be a better person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot.
I mean, I was like, I relate a lot, but I was like, it didn't really change my outlook on anything. Otherwise, I definitely would have been like Danmachi if there was any sort of argument for it. But like, I don't get influenced like that when there are like really intense moments that they speak their words of wisdom. It's like, yeah, that's cool and all. That doesn't apply to me. I live in the real world.
I mean, yeah.
But there have been some things that have been said that resonate, and they kind of make me think about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think the only line that I have ever heard in any anime ever that I have both heard and it stuck with me and then got to use it outside of watching anime was I can't remember which fate it was. Fate, Grand Order Babylonian.
Was it people when people die they are people
no,
people die when they are killed?
When people die, they are when you kill people, they die.
Yeah, dude, I love that shit.
They are killed. Something like that.
Yeah, we both fucked it up.
In the show, there's a line where they fight like whoever the big bad is. I forget who it's supposed to be. And the entire like group is like petrified in fear. And then they have like a resonant moment to the servant that is essentially Pantheon, and they call back to it, and the saying was, if you're scared, or if you can't move when you're scared, do it scared. And so that was like that hit weird. Like I didn't process it correctly, like reasonably at first, and then it was like, yeah, like if you have no choice and you are literally petrified with fear, do what you have to do scared. You don't have to be. Bravery is not being unafraid. It is doing it while scared. And I think that was probably the biggest, most impactful thing that I had ever heard in anime that was like, yeah, I think that is probably the best thing I've ever heard. And it was like, they also, in that moment, the Pantheon told them that if they're too scared to move, take a deep breath, then do a scare. So now whenever I am like when I'm really, I apply it to my anxiety. So whenever I'm like locked up, take a deep breath, breathe it out, and then do the thing scared. And it's hard to like relate that to somebody else, because it's like, well, you're petrified with moving, you can't just do as scared. It's not how it works. And it's like, yeah, I get that. It's not that you could just do it. This isn't fucking Shia LaBeouf or nothing, but if there is ever a time when you can't and you have to remind yourself that it's not impossible. You don't have to remove the fear. You have to allow it to be. And it's like, it's just like so hard to really explain how it like connected for me. But it just like, I don't know why that stuck with me so bad. Like, I've never been in a situation, aside from Sleep Demon, where I couldn't move due to fear. I've never been in a situation like that. So it was like, why it stuck with me so hard was strange. Cause I was like, I don't think I've ever been that terrified before. But I'm kind of glad that I heard it, and it definitely does help. It's like mentally, sometimes I'm able to like refer back to that, and it helps me like push through some things. But yeah, other than like that one moment, I don't think anything else is like super. It doesn't stick with me like that. A lot of it seems like it's too fantasy for it to relate to me directly, so I just dismiss a lot of it. A lot of people use like Dragon Ball as like the thing that taught them to never give up, that, or Naruto or whatever, and I was like, that to me that was obvious. So I was like, that didn't apply to me. Like, I understand that where people got it from, because it definitely sends that message, but to me specifically, I was like, well, yeah. So yeah. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. It's just like,
no, like I genuinely thought that, or I genuinely think that a lot of shows like that, where, like, say for me, like if we use Naruto as an example, right? Rock Lee is a big character for that, where it's not necessarily like, I want to be like Lee, I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 squats, and all that shit like that. It's more so just like you see that determination to never give up, and that resonates with you as a person. Because it's not going to be a one-to-one direct translation to what an anime character is going through. Yeah. But you can look at a character going through something rough, and you're going through something rough as well, and teach you this life lesson. Like, it's like the old adage where it's like, tough times never last, but tough people do. And you can get that from a lot of shows where that kind of resonates with you. Because I know I get that a lot with certain shows. I mean, kind of like what you were speaking in regards to, like having that fear, but not letting that fear immobilize you. One of the best moments from a recent anime that I watched was Fearing. Because you have the character Stark. And Stark's whole thing is whenever he gets into his fight, his hands shake. And he always saw that as a detriment, right? He always thought like, oh, being scared means that I'm a coward. Being scared means that I'm too frightful. And he had this one moment that really resonated with him. This is a slight spoiler for Fearing. But with his master, who is Fearing's one of the heroes that fought with Fearing, before the show starts. And he was like, there's a big moment where he has like this fight with Stark and he knocks him out, right? Or he punches him, and he's like, I never had my master hit me like that, like unprovoked. And the reason why he did it was because he saw himself in Stark, but he knew that fear was a part of his strength as well, because he wouldn't do anything foolish, and he knew what strength was because he had it. So he knew like, okay, if there is strength, that I need to be concerned, because strength can't hurt people. Strength isn't just used to protect, it can be used to hurt. And that fear is like his brain keeping himself in check.
Yeah.
So even though he's scared, even though he's shaking, even though he's going over unrelenting odds, he can still fight it. And while that doesn't, like, I'm not out here fighting red dragons and stuff like that. Like, in those moments where you might be second guessing yourself, in those moments where you're going through something hard and you feel like you're alone, it's those things that can stick out to you, even if you're just watching the show to kind of like pass your time, where you're just like, you know what? I can get through this as well. It's not going to be a direct translation, but those things kind of help sometimes and can get you out of a negative place, can help you out in those low moments. And I'm sure we all got shows, whether it's anime, a cartoon, a TV show, a movie, or just a family member, somebody who's close to you who just said something that really stuck out to you and resonated with you. It doesn't have to make you get up off your ass and become a police officer, or get off your ass and go to the gym. But it can be like, you know what?
It just nags at you in the back of your mind for forever. Yeah. It like never goes away. So
while it may not influence you, it sticks with you. And I feel like we all have that, because I got a ton of them. And again, Ippo is my big one because it did make me more physically in shape. And again, I'm not the most strong person on the planet, but you know, every time I'm going to the gym, I'm just like, yo, let's go. Let me hit the speed bag. Let me get on the treadmill, start running, man. I got to get strong like Ippo. You know what I mean?
You have a line in anime, just like one line that really stands out. Like it just speaks to you.
In anime,
it's like the show.
One of my favorite moments is with Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho. When she's training Yusuke and he's using spirit energy to balance himself upside down with his one finger on a pin. And he has these spirit.
I remember that.
Yeah, and he's using it. And he's like freaking, he's like, I can't do this. This is too hard. And Genkai goes off on him. And she's like, you have had everything easy in your life. You were naturally gifted at fighting. You are naturally strong. And whenever you got to work for something or anything is too hard, you quit because it's not easy. You're a quitter. She was like, you have the ability and the capacity to do this. But whenever it gets tough, you quit. And that shit hit me hard because I don't know how other people feel, but like I try to learn how to draw and I try to do it. And I'm just like, oh, this doesn't look good. I'm terrible at this. And I just drop it. I did the same thing with editing. I did the same thing with coding. I'm just like, I'm not immediately good at something. I drop it. But that speech from Genkai, I don't know what it was, man, but that shit hit me so hard.
I'm just like, it was like she was talking to you.
Yeah. Like it felt so fucking relatable because it's like, I do give up when shit isn't easy or you don't get something immediately or is it something that you just like have a natural knack for.
Gratification.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people deal with that. I know I do all the time. It's one of the reasons why I said I wouldn't quit. Yeah. And like I'm older now and I'm just like, I don't want to quit on anything anymore. Because it feels like you quitting on yourself. And I feel like every time you do that, a little piece of your passion fucking die. So while the stuff that I'm trying to do right now isn't easy and going to the gym isn't easy, I don't want to quit anymore. I don't want to quit anymore. And that's straight up from Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho, which is a little old lady who shoot fucking balls out of her finger. You know what I mean? But that shit fucking resonated with me. Like straight up. That line will always like, you can't quit just because it is difficult. You gotta fucking push through. And calling somebody out like that shit felt real. That shit felt real. And that's the power of it. Because at the end of the day, even though it's a bunch of people fighting demons, a person had to write that. And that person is trying to get that message to the people who need to hear it. And I needed to hear that shit.
That one is definitely one of the more like real life applicable ones. That it definitely is a lot easier to translate into real life because that one for a lot of people, I'm sure sounds like she is speaking directly to you. And it almost, if you relate to the sentiment that she's putting out, it is almost unnatural that it will like stick with you because you're like, wait, that sounds like me. And then it's like, now I can take this advice as is. Like I don't have to interpret it any way because it is what it is. And that was like, it's just so much easier for, especially that one specific line, for you to like translate it into a life lesson as opposed to like a lot of the other ones where you have to kind of like you kind of have to work it a little bit to like make
power of friendship.
Like if I believe my friends if I believe in my friends enough, you think I can withstand a bullet? Probably not. But I mean like those ones you have to like modify a little bit. That one can just it goes straight to your heart, right in there, sticks in the back of your brain. However you think about it, it is there. And like some moments like those are like really powerful though. That I think the writers are like so good when they can manage to do that. They circle it back to like a real life lesson. It's really hard to do that in fantasy, especially in fantasy shows. But even like the slice of life ones are really generic advice that you can kind of take from it. Like I've never heard anybody be like, yeah, I definitely believe that Toradora gave me the kick in the butt I needed. Like those ones don't give you helpful advice. Toradora's a good show. Don't get me wrong. I like Toradora. It's just not gonna change the way you think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones, and you can join in the conversation by leaving down a anime or a moment from an anime or a line from an anime that really resonated with you. Whether you decided to go and pick up the gym from watching Dragon Ball Z, whether you believe like, hey, maybe I should try to not go forth with anger, but talk it out using talk no jutsu like Naruto Uzumaki.
And then hit him with a Rasengan.
But yeah, like if there's something that resonated with you and made you rethink a way that you thought before previously, or just something that sticks with you in the back of your mind that helps keeps you motivated in those times where things are getting tough, leave it down in the comments below the YouTube video. You can leave us a 5-star rating on your audio podcast services of your choice. And let us know, man. Be a part of the conversation and come chat with us about the shit we love so much. Anime. All right, everybody, we're going to move on to the third topic, our third and final topic of today. And it's going to be the best educational anime. I'm actually kind of interested to see what your take on this will be. I want to expand your mind because I'm going to take it a little bit differently, a little bit crazy. Not really, but no. I mean, I feel like we talk a lot about anime, right? And when you proffered this topic to me, I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting one. Because I was like, what would I go with educational anime? Like, what anime would I consider like the Bill Nye, the science guy of anime?
I want you to tell me what yours is first, because I have one that has like 3 versions of it, and it's really the only one that I can think of that's strictly like educational. So I want to know what yours is first.
Okay, I'm throwing out the honorable mention because I feel like this is the default answer. Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone was going to be not my answer, but yeah. I was going to bring it up because it definitely like he teaches you like a way that things work together a lot, but it's fantasized and blown out of proportion like crazy. Like obviously none of that stuff can happen the way that it works. But it does, from what I could tell, all of the things that were spoken about on how they interact with other things is true.
Yeah.
So like the manpower for it is probably not realistic, and then like the way that they make things, especially since a lot of it has to be like really precise, you're not going to do any of that stuff in Stone World. That's not going to happen. But I
can't shoot you with a green beam.
I think the roadmaps are really fun. I like the more complicated ones when Mecha Senku comes in. That is funny. I love that. But I would definitely not be like, yo, if you want to learn science, go to Dr. Stone. I'm like, if you already know science and you like it, then watch Dr. Stone.
Yeah. I will say the roadmaps were one of my favorite things. Like seeing how they progress time over time. Awesome. So I just wanted to throw that one out there because that's not going to be mine. But I love Dr. Stone. I had so much fun like watching him make a fucking light bulb and shit. Like that was awesome. Because I didn't expect much from Dr. Stone. Because I was like, when y'all gonna start punching shit out of people? And then I just fell in love with all the learning and inventing. You don't have to
punch the shit out of people.
Apparently.
And then punches the shit out of a lion and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, that was wild. But like that was like the default answer that I felt like either one of us was going to talk about, but I didn't want to talk about it. My educational anime will actually be, I guess, a genre anime that we kind of talked about in this podcast. Sports anime. I think sports anime is like incredibly educational. Probably not in a way not.
It definitely, now that you say that, it's definitely not what I was thinking of, but I think I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, because I'm not a sports guy, right? I never cared about any sports. My family's from Chicago, so when the Bulls were on the run, back in the 90s with Michael Jordan, I had to watch every basketball game. But I was never like a big sports guy. But something about sports anime like got me hooked because I mean we talked about it where it's like the passion from the characters. You get to see their backstories, what they're all fighting for. Tournaments are always good in the anime. Tournaments are my favorite thing ever. But the thing that got me, right, it was Ice Shield 21. Ice Shield no Nichiro Ichi. I hear that all the time because I watch the sub. I learned everything about football. Which is crazy to me because I don't care about football. Yeah, but I know how many players.
I know you were going with is like the it's educational in the sense that it teaches you like the rules, the strategy, the orientation, the planning for these sports animes. Yeah. That's definitely not what I thought of when I proposed it, but that was definitely a good take on it.
Because that's what I like when I was thinking about it when you proposed it. I was like, dude, I learned so much about sports from watching Ice Shield and Slam Dunk and Haikyuu.
Like Haikyuu, I didn't even know Libero was like a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What the hell? I thought they were just making it up. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, wait, that's like a real thing.
I was like, volleyball is just something you go on the beach with your bros and be very, very homoerotic with Tom Cruise. It's one of
the more annoying segments in gym class.
Yeah, like that's all volleyball was. But my whole thing was like, I would legitimately sit there and learn so much about a sport that I didn't care about.
Yeah.
The sweet science of boxing from Ippo. You know, like martial arts, like watching Kenichi's Mightiest Disciple. Like those are all
that
real
one was
world
really
things.
Cool. I really liked Kenichi's because it took all of like so many different ones.
You know, like there's so much I know knowledge wise, who's made it interesting whenever like my friends were like, hey, we're throwing a Super Bowl party. I'd be like, oh, so that's the, you know, oh, they just did a touchback. Oh, that's the safety. Oh, that guy's the running back. Oh, I saw him cut like that. Like, obviously, it's not going to be like as fantastical as iShield 21, where fucking, what's his name? Sora, Suna, whatever the main character name. It's been so long since I watched and read the manga. But the main character, iShield 21, is like seeing the fucking route line in his head and everything like that. Like, it's not that fantastical. But, you know, you have the commentator, John Madden, throwing his lines. It's like, oh, that's what he was seeing, the main character, iShield.
They always have like the one person that's supportive that has no idea what's going on, and they're like, "I can't believe that just happened. What did he just do?" Goes into extreme detail onto what just happened. Dude, it's like thank you for that exposition.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things that iShield specifically is that in between like the commercial breaks, but the intermissions that they would do in between the basketball breaks or the commercial breaks would be like them explaining it. Like they'll do like little quizzes. Like, how many players are on a football team? And they're like,
the
11.
intermission things? Yeah, I like those. They're pretty cool.
Those are really fun. It was always the demon dude. I forget what his name is. It's been so long. But it'll be him and, like, the big guy who's, like, on the defense team. And then they'd be like, and he always do, like, his dumb laugh. And they would, like, explain something about, like, football. Like, how many points do you get with your score? And everything like that. So you learn a lot unexpectedly when I'm just like, I just want to watch this dude who's, you know, who got bullied and he's scared, but he's always good at running and be a good runner and make his way to the Super Bowl of Japan or whatever the fuck. I was like, but I learned so much of football from watching iShield. Yeah, so I'm just like, I didn't want to tell my friends, like, I know all of this from a dumb anime. But I learned a lot of like.
You get so knowledgeable.
And I was like, well, I watched iShield 21. But yeah, exactly. But yeah, and the same thing with boxing. Again, you learn a lot about the science of boxing from Ippo. You learn a lot about baseball from like Big Wind Up, like you said, the strategy and everything that goes into it, which is actually really cool because there's a lot of things that they turn into super moves, like special moves that are actually like fight moves. Dude, you want to know how it blew my mind in Ippo? When Ippo was learning the Dempshiro and he does it, and you hear the jet engines, you see him going off, how crazy it looks, and you know that's a real finishing move that Jack Dempsey does. And while it's not as fantastical in like real life it is in anime, it's still like you watch him do it. And I'm just like,
I like
it
that.
It looks like Ippo
in sports anime where they take like a real thing and then they just like dial it up.
Dude, it's so sick.
I think when they take like the real versions of it, it's like when it gets like really, really good. Because if they start like coming up with bullshit, like you just start losing people. So
dude, whenever they mention Mike Tyson in reference to Ippo and Ippo, where it's like you got the guard like Mike Tyson, and like you see like anime Mike Tyson there, and Ippo has like the fucking like tight like in boxer guard. Like
I didn't even know that they referenced Mike Tyson.
Yeah, they referenced Tyson in regards to Ippo since he's like a shorter in fighter with heavy hits, like heavy punches like Tyson. Which I was just like, Tyson's a fucking monster. So whenever Ippo's beating the shit out of somebody, I was like, yeah, he's Japanese Mike Tyson. No shit. Dude.
Ippo Tyson.
Yeah, dude, that's what he is. Dude, watch Ippo. It's on Netflix. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think sports anime are incredibly educational. You can learn so much interesting facts from sports anime because they reference a lot of like real players or real fighters or real combatants in real life situations. Which is actually really cool. They do that a lot, like in a recent anime, like Blue Lock. They reference like Messi and stuff like that all the time. They're like, you got to get, Japan's soccer team sucks.
In the Blue Lock, whenever they mentioned it when they were against the like World Cup players, I was like, oh, they're bringing in the real big guns right now, the real people that we actually know about that are in like the real World Cup and stuff. So I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Dude, I love it. I love it so much. But that's where I wanted to go with the education of anime. Because if you want to learn to pick up a sport and you're like, I don't give a crap about sports or whatever.
I don't want to watch it, but I want to watch it.
Yeah, I would highly recommend sports anime. It's fantastic. Whether it's martial arts, to an actual game like basketball or football, there's so many anime that are based. Like it's such a like saturated category with so many good ones. I would highly recommend watching. Just pick one. So good. But Vix, what is your best educational anime?
So mine is going to go down the like standard route of just like being like textbook educational. Cells at Work is probably arguably the most like strictly educational anime I can think of. The entire thing is based on telling you the anatomy and the working of the inner body, and they do it like so fun. Like it's so much fun to watch. And then they had like a darker version of it that was Cells at Work Black, and it was about like the cancer cell, and that was like it was so interesting to see all of the different kinds of cells and like how they interacted on the inside of the body. I didn't realize that macrophages existed. That sounded like a made up word, but they're real. Yeah. And they showcase. I think it's actually more in Black that they showcase how B cells work. That they're built more to get rid of like generalized infections. And then they really they personify a bunch of the like germs and stuff so that they just go through and the white blood cells just absolutely murk the shit out of these things. It almost makes you want to like be healthier because you're like, I feel bad for my cells now and all.
Yeah, they in there doing fucking
Kamehameha. Like your own body. And you're like, if you watch Black, you could clearly tell that the guy that they're in is not healthy, and they are just like struggle busting in there, and you're like, maybe I should take care of myself a little bit more.
See, that could be your anime that was influential to you.
I see those whole pizza. So.
There you go. It influenced you in the wrong way. You shouldn't be like the guy in Cells at Work Black.
But when I was watching it, I was like, I thought it was mostly like made up or like extreme versions of things that existed. So I was like, I wonder how much of it is like actually true. And there was I think his name was Mike, Dr. Mike on YouTube. He did like a 4 or 5 episode review on like the accuracy of the show, and like about 95% of it was like dead accurate as he was explaining it. And so I think that was really cool that they managed to like personify all of the individual cells into like some sort of civilization inside the body. And then obviously making they didn't even make all of the germs like strictly demonic looking. Like some of them were because they're just obviously bad. But then we know that there's germs that can like circumvent white blood cells. And they actually have a couple of those germs that are like hidden. So I was like, that's pretty cool too. And then they showcase the good bacteria versus bad bacteria, and how like the white blood cells kind of can end up destroying or fighting the good bacteria that's generally present in like your stomach. And a lot of them they had like this whole adventure on how to protect this good bacteria, and it was just like some random cell. So it's like not even red blood cells specifically are the only ones that are or white blood cells are being protective. It's like all of them have some sort of function for everything really. And I always thought that the red blood cells, since they carry oxygen around the body, they showcase it by having all the red blood cells be like delivery people. And they'll just go over to random cells or like their houses and just give them a box of oxygen. I'm like what's the milkman in that box right now?
It's air.
And you open it up, it's empty. But then like when in the unhealthy person's body, there was not enough red blood cells to move the oxygen around, so the cells that would normally take the oxygen were starting to die. And then they would get very like resilient to accepting the oxygen when they came by, because they in the show they were like, you forgot about us, but like in real life they just have to like become essentially more sturdy so they can survive without oxygen for that long, and then it ends up like being detrimental, and then that's how like the infection spreads. And in the unhealthy one, they showed how cancer grows and is like, they showed how like it tricks I forget which cell it was, to like protect it, because it's like a mutated already existent cell. So it wasn't the white blood cell, but it was a different one, T cell, I think it was called. And they defended the cancer cell because it was essentially the outer layer of a normal cell. So they were like fighting their own body to stop the cancer, and then the cancer would like continuously grow. And then they had like a really cool fight scene, and I'm like, I wasn't expecting a fight scene in this. So, yeah, it was. I
never
crazy.
Watched Cells at Work.
It's really good. The unhealthy one. So in the normal one, Cells at Work, the red blood cell is cute little female, and then they have like the white blood cell being the like edgy male, and then in the unhealthy one, flipped, the red blood cell is like the scaredy cat male, and then the white blood cell is the edgy female.
Yeah, all I remember, like the only thing
they explain how erections work in the unhealthy one. So so they explain how like erections get bigger, and I was like, what?
What? I need to start watching this anime now. Shit. I can get bigger from watching anime. Let's go.
They had him like run in and like fill these essentially vaults, and then just like push on the wall. I was like, okay, I get it.
What the fuck? I did not know that. But yeah, it just always felt like anime Osmosis Jones, which I loved Osmosis Jones growing up, and the cartoon show Oz and Drix. So I need to watch
Osmosis Jones. That was awesome.
It was so
more
sad. Of that. But yeah, I haven't watched. That's literally all I knew about Cells at Work. It's just anime Osmosis Jones, and then in, I guess, the negative one, the white blood cell chick had giant tits, and that's all I remember.
I don't think they were outraged. The macrophage in the healthy one was well endowed, to say the least.
That's all I remember, because that's all I saw from people sharing the show.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they made all the, they made them all attractive. They always do. But definitely the macrophage was like a very powerful mommy mood, where she was like, she had like the little bonnet on and the nice puffy dress that was like very covering at the top, and then it was just like this massive mound that came out of the middle. It was quite absurd. So not as bad as like some anime, but like it was pretty big. It was a little unnecessary, but they didn't draw attention to it or anything. So
is that good fan service?
Service was acceptable. But yeah, I think they did a good job. I think all around for that show. I don't have like any complaints about it, really. But it was, the learning that it was extremely accurate was funny to me, because I didn't think that would ever happen. I thought it would just be a bunch of bullshit, or it would be really boring edutainment stuff.
Edutainment. No, that's good to hear. I'll probably end up picking it up. I'm slowly but surely working through my backlog. But I surely
give you more.
I mean, hey, that's the life of an anime fan, man, or a gamer. I have a huge game backlog as well. But yeah, I'm throwing more stuff on the list because I love anime and I want to keep checking out everything, and we can give you updates here on the podcast. But yeah, thank you guys so much for enjoying this 12th episode. It's a whole baker's dozen. That's not true. Baker's dozen is 13. But shut up. but no, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Whether you were here live, whether you're here watching the VOD on YouTube, or listening to it on your commute back and forth to work. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. The DNanime Podcast, me and Vix appreciate it immensely. If you guys want to join into the conversation, leave a comment down on the YouTube video. Let us know what you liked, or any of your opinions on any of the topics, whether it's fan service, whether it's an anime that inspired you, whether it's an anime that made you learn something new. Share it with us in the Discord, or get into the discourse and share it with us in the comments below. You can also stay up to date with the podcast by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and hitting that little notification bell on the YouTube channel as well. And we will always appreciate hearing your feedback on the audio podcast services of your choice, because you can hit that little 5-star. I mean, you ain't got to give us 5-star, but 5-star helps a lot. But you can hit that 5-star. Yeah, hit that share your opinion on the podcast so we can get more people in, listen to it, and join in the conversation as well. Because again, as you guys can probably see if you're watching the video version of this, the conversation is going. So again, thank you guys so much for sharing your time with us here, the DNanime Podcast, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Hi, everybody.
Bye, y'all.